Hey brides, welcome back to another episode of the Bridal Coach podcast. Today I'm going to be covering the 4 pillars of becoming the best version of yourself and what she actually looks like so that you can actually start implementing, so that you can actually become that person that you want to become for your wedding day and for a lifetime beyond. I always go through my DMs and one of the main things that pops up is women asking me, how do I start? I've tried this before. I've tried losing weight. I've tried diets in the past. Nothing has worked, or the weight has always piled back. What is the difference? How do I actually become the version of myself that I want to become while still being me, while still enjoying my engagement and still enjoying going out and doing the things that I now enjoy? How do I become that person? And I'm going to tell you how today, because I feel like this is a real big hot topic and not one that is spoken about a lot. I get DMs constantly from brides talking to me about how they don't know what to do, they don't know where to start, and they don't know how to manage it all. And I got a DM the other day, I'm going to read out her message. No names, nothing to in her personal. But this is something that a lot of you brides can really, really relate to. So this particular woman says, I'm now 30. I've been with my partner for years. We're getting married next year and then thinking about trying for a baby soon after. And honestly, I hate how I feel in my body right now. I always cover up, even at home. I can't stand looking at my belly and I could never be intimate with the lights on. I just don't feel sexy at all. I've always been the bigger girl and believed that if I wanted to lose weight, I needed to go all in, like cut out carbs, stop having chocolate, skip meals. But I now know through watching your content that just isn't the answer anymore, but I don't know what to do. My wedding is my motivation and I really don't want to feel like this anymore. And I'm starting to dress shop soon, so I want to feel my best and a bit better in myself. Where do I even start? I wanted to create this video because if this sounds like you, and even if this one woman hears this video and takes something from it, I'm happy, because there are some things that you can do in order to help you become the best version of yourself, to start wedding dress shopping and feel more confident and actually start feeling more like yourself. Because all of those things, like, we've all been there. We've all struggled to look in the mirror at one point. We've all struggled to be intimate with the lights on at one point. Like, these aren't abnormal things, especially as women. So it's not coming from a place of like, this isn't normal, but how can we actually step into our best version of ourselves? How can we actually become more confident so that we're able to express ourselves in our clothes, but also for our wedding, in our wedding dress, right? So the wedding day is a big motivation. And the one thing, right, that I would recommend any bride to get clear on, this is my number one tip. If you're going to take one thing away from this video, I hope that you're going to take a few more things, but one main tip is be clear on what you actually want. Be so intentional with your goals, your weight loss goals, your fat loss goals, how you want to feel, your confidence, how you want your photos to come back, how you want your hair and makeup. Be so intentional about your fat loss and your weight loss journey as you would your hair and makeup. As I just said, this is something that genuinely you have the power to create. You can create the body that you feel confident in, right? Just like you can create a hairstyle. You can create the makeup look that you want. You can't, like, your makeup artist is going to ask you, what do you want? Do you want a smoky eye? Do you want glitter? Do you want soft glam? Do you want loads of makeup? Do you want fake lashes? If you say to her, I don't know, I just want to look pretty, she's going to do her idea of pretty. Like, everyone's idea of pretty, confident, sexy is different. If you go to your makeup artist and say, I want to look sexy, it's going to be her representation, her idea of sexy, which might not be yours. So unless you're going to her with exactly what you want, you can't expect to get your outcome. Your fat loss and your weight loss journey is the exact same. I speak to women every single day, and my clients that come to me and say, I want to lose weight. Okay, how much weight do you want to lose? Oh, well, I haven't thought about it. Okay, well, sit and actually think about it. Like, this isn't a case of putting a number on it and not being satisfied until you get a number on it. It's about being realistic and actually knowing what you want, having intention, right? Because you can't go into your weight loss journey without a goal. Like, the goal is going to keep you going until you get there. that goal might change along the way, right? Just like our makeup preferences change as we grow and as we grow as a person, but also as we grow up, right? Our preferences change, our style changes, our makeup routine changes. That is totally fine. But if you don't have a goal and if you don't have intentions of what beautiful, what sexy, what confidence means to you, how can you start going in that direction? Okay, so being intentional is my number one tip. What do you want to change, right? You look in the mirror, you feel unconfident about a certain part of your body, that's fine. But be intentional. Okay, I want to tone up my arms. I want to have a bubble butt. I'm sick and tired of my booty looking like an IKEA flat pack. I want a good bum. Like, that's fine. There is nothing wrong with wanting to change parts about yourself. I would be lying if I said I didn't want to change things about myself, right? But the difference is when you're unhappy and when you're working towards a goal is that you're actually doing something about it. Okay, so if you're doing nothing about the things that you want to change, you're going to remain in a state of unhappiness. If you're doing things intentionally to get you towards that goal, it's about the journey, right? And we talk about confidence and we talk about like it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that is so true. As long as you are taking steps to where you want to be, your confidence is going to build, your happiness is going to build, you're going to feel like you're actually doing things with intention and purpose rather than just following it blindly, okay? But this all comes with having a goal and knowing what you want to achieve. So why do you want it as well? Like, why do you want to reach that goal? Why do you want a peachy bum? Why do you want to lose belly fat? Why do you want to feel stronger and feel more confident? Okay, is it because you currently can't wear the clothes that you want to wear? You're currently just dressing up in baggy clothes and you don't feel like you're expressing yourself? You have a pair of jeans that you haven't worn in God knows how many years because you feel like you've got a flat pack and you don't want your booty being on show? What is it? Because I know for me personally, when I got myself into the gym initially, it was to build some more shape because I felt flat, but I also felt fat at the same time. I was what I would describe as skinny fat, where I had no shape. My booty went like this. I had some, I'm not going to say they went all the way down because that would actually really hurt my feelings, but I had a flat back. And as a teenager growing up, nobody wants a flat back, right? We're going to house parties in dresses and stuff. My intention has now changed. My goal has now changed, but that was my initial goal, right? I wasn't happy with something. Cool. So how do I change that? I have to be intentional with it. And what did I do? I grew a booty. If nobody has seen my own Instagram, I don't really post about my bum much, but you will, if you've followed me for a while, if you're an OG, you will know I grew my booty from scratch. I'm not going to be posting any more pictures about that because I'm not about that life anymore. But I built a booty in the gym from scratch. I had zero IKEA flat pack. I built a booty in the gym because it was an insecurity. And then I wasn't insecure anymore. So that is literally it. Like, have a goal. You have an insecurity. Figure out how you're going to overcome that insecurity and start working towards it. On the way, I learned so much. I changed. But what was my reason why? I wanted to feel good in a dress. I don't want to have a flat bum in a dress. And that got me to where I wanted to be. So having your why, right? Your why might be your wedding dress. You don't want back fat hanging over on your wedding dress and feeling self-conscious like you have to pull it up constantly. You want your dress to fit nicely. But after the wedding, what is your why, right? I speak about this with my clients all the time. You have your wedding goal. Great. Motivation, goal, milestones, we can hit that. But then once your wedding comes and is gone, what now? What is your why now? So you have to think about your goal post-wedding before the wedding comes so that you can actually take the necessary steps, because there's nothing worse than reaching your goal for your wedding and then post-wedding having a rebound and just going back to old habits and like nothing sticking. So you have to figure out your why before it gets to that point, before you get to your wedding, so that you can continue to build on that, but also so that you're not then starting from scratch, right? Because if your why is just your wedding dress, you're going to get there and you're going to feel good, right? But that might not align with your why after the wedding. So your why for the wedding and then your why for after the wedding. Two things that you need to be clear on. Write them down. What is your goal for the wedding? What is your goal for after the wedding? This particular bride, clearly, her goal for after the wedding is being in a better position to conceive, to have a baby. Maybe this is a confidence thing, right? She's currently not feeling confident now. So when she gets pregnant, we all know that weight gain is totally normal and our body completely changes. But feeling confident post-wedding is super important as well, right? So fixing the issue of the unconfidence now, right? Fixing her mindset, fixing her habits, fixing her routine now, working towards her goal is going to help her why after the wedding, okay? So her goal is to feel good for the wedding, but it's also to be in a better position to bear a child for health, but also to feel better when she is postpartum, right? And these are things that I speak with a lot of the time, right? A lot of my clients, they are either already have children, so they are struggling with their postpartum body, and they actually want to learn how to sort of regain parts of themselves that they maybe lost before having a baby. You're never going to bounce back. You're never going to go back to how you were pre-baby, because your body has changed so much. And I can speak on experience because I've helped so many women who have been in that situation. Not actual experience. I don't have any babies yet, but you can definitely get back to a point where you feel confident in yourself, right? So we just need to know that. So going back, I'm going off topic. What does it look like to you? Why is it important to you? What's the real reason? Like, dig a little bit deeper. No surface level BS. Why are you doing this? What is the real reason? Okay, take yourself back. How has this affected you in your life? How is this affecting you now? Literally list every single way it is affecting you now, because when the times come when motivation slips after the wedding, you are going to remember more so if you remind yourself why this is so important to you and how there are so many other factors besides the wedding. You're more likely to stick to it. Okay, so why? What is the real reason? What does it look like to you to feel confident? Visualize it. Sit and actually see it. See yourself looking in the mirror and not hating your body anymore. See yourself walking down the aisle feeling like gorgeous, feeling amazing, feeling however you want to feel. If you want to feel sexy in your dress, if you want to feel confident, if you want to feel at ease, if you just want to be present, you want to focus on being present rather than worrying about what you look like. But right now, you are worrying about what you look like. So how can we change that? And what does it feel like? Like, does it feel good? Does it feel easy? Does it feel comfortable? How does that feel to you to reach your goals, to lose belly fat, to wear a certain size dress? How does that feel to you? How do you actually feel? Write the words down as they come to you, because I promise you, once you write a clear picture, once you see a clear picture, and once you write a clear script, I guess we're kind of manifesting, we're scripting what we want. Once you write that out, it's going to become more clear to you and it's going to become easier to achieve it. I promise you that now. You have to know your goal, okay? That is number one. Be intentional about what you want to change. Number two, how does the person that you want to become spend their time, okay? How do they spend their time? The person that you've just written out, the person that you've just seen, how do they spend their time? What does your higher self do? What does she eat? How does she exercise? What TV does she watch? Does she even watch TV? What type of stuff does she watch on social media? What does she do with her time? How many steps does she walk a day? How much water does she drink? What kind of people does she spend time with? These are all things that might sound a bit like, oh my gosh, really? Like, you're going to ask me who I'm spending my time with now? What my friends are doing? Does that really matter to what I'm doing? Yes, it 100% does. Who you spend your time with, what you do with your spare time, what you eat, what you drink, etc., is going to shape who you're becoming, right? Your past habits, your past relationships have created the person that you are today. So your habits today, your relationships today are going to create your future self. So How does that person spend their time? Think about it. Write it down. How does she carry herself? What does she eat? What is she watching? How much water is she drinking, right? You're going to literally write out the steps that they would be doing in order to maintain that, I guess, and just be that person. What would they do on a day-to-day basis, right? Number 3, audit your habits for a week, okay? As soon as a new client comes onto my program, to my coaching, regardless of whether she's here for 3 months, 6 months, a year, we spend a week auditing. She might not even know this, but I am auditing what she does in that week. What does she eat? What time does she eat? How many meals? What meals? How many snacks? What are the snacks? What time is she snacking? Is she snacking because she's hungry? Is she snacking because she's bored? Is she snacking because she works in a office environment and they're bringing in snacks and, you know, they're just there, so she's mindlessly snacking? From start to finish, from as soon as she wakes up in the morning to as soon as she goes to sleep, tracking her habits. What are your habits? Write them down. Right, number 3, habit tracking, Monday to Friday. Actually, scratch that. Monday to Sunday, because your weekends are going to differ so much. Most people's do. So what are your habits like? Literally day in, day out, from the moment you wake up, from the moment you go to sleep. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you watching? Okay, so audit your habits for a week. How often do you exercise? How many steps do you get a day? Without trying to change them, just being aware of them. Just 1 week, right? And you might be like, well, what's the point in this? Why don't I just kickstart and get straight into it, right? Because really and truly, if we don't understand a lot of your habits and a lot of why you do things and your triggers, right? And like I said, your habits that are already set now, we can't focus on sort of unraveling them, because we can't completely remove your old habits. I wish it was that easy, right? But we can't just snap our fingers and they be gone. Otherwise, they're going to creep back up. So we need to figure out where they are, and then we try and change them. So if you're eating 4 meals a day, we're not going to change that. If that's something you've been doing for the past 5 years or your whole life, we're not going to put you on 3 meals a day if you've been eating 4. If your body is used to that and you're used to that and you enjoy that, we're going to have 4 meals a day then. That's fine. But we just have to make sure that it fits within your calories and your macros. That is literally it. If you snack in between, once between breakfast and lunch, and then once between lunch and dinner, great, no problem. Is that because you're hungry, or is that because you're bored? We need to figure this out, because if it's because you're hungry, we can either have bigger meals, bigger breakfast, lunch and dinner, so that you're not snacking in between, or you would prefer to have a smaller meal and a little snack in between. Great, no problem. But how can we make that fit within your calories and your macros? So we need to understand how these habits are affecting us and where they are. Just being aware of them, like literally being aware of them, is the first step to changing them. And we need to figure out how we're going to change them, okay? So yeah, really understand your habits. Literally track everything that you do every single day for a week, and I promise you it will open your mind, it will give you perspective, and it will show you things about and tell you things about yourself that you didn't even know. So track your habits, okay? That is number 3. Number 4, be intentional about what you can do to be better. I'm going to say that one more time for people in the back. Be intentional about what you can do to be better. Not completely scrapping your routine, not completely starting again, not giving yourself unrealistic expectations. What can you actually do to be better, right? As I just said, right? You're now aware of your habits every single day. How can they be better? I'll give you an example. You might be tracking your habits, right? And one of those things being your food. You might notice, oh, I'm going out for lunch 3 to 4 times a week with the girls from work. That's a habit that I can change without it completely, adding extra pressure or stress to my life. And you know what? Maybe I can give up that caramel latte that I'm getting every single morning before work. Maybe I can bring that down to every other day rather than 5 days a week. I'm only having it 2-3 times a week now. My steps. Maybe my screen time is ridiculous every single day. So what can I do? All right, so maybe I can, rather than replacing screen time with just walking and getting steps in. So my screen time is high, my steps are low. Okay, well, maybe I can still go on my phone, but I'm going to go get steps in, right? So it's not about like completely scrapping these things off and being like, oh, well, I shouldn't be doing screen time this long and my steps are low. No, we're just going to go out for a walk. You can continue being on your phone. That's totally fine. And then eventually, maybe we replace screen time with listening to a podcast, right? Doing something intentional. But it's about starting small, right? You can't completely scrap social media scrolling and then go out for a walk and start listening to podcasts and stuff. If that feels right to you, and if you want to do that, and if you want to go straight in head first, cool. I support that, and I think that's great. But for a lot of people, you'll get back to old habits. If we can start to lower these things intentionally and change these things slowly, it feels like something we can maintain. And then as our habits start to change, we can start to change the habits that are involved as well, right? As well, if you're noticing that you're getting a takeout twice a week, maybe you're getting it once in the middle of the week because work has been stressful and you feel like you can't be asked to cook, and then you're getting a takeout on the weekend as well. Okay, cool. Now you're aware of it. What can we do to change it? Maybe I can create a fake away so that I can make a meal at home that I can still be aware of and I can still track. Okay. So being intentional can mean so many different things to so many different people. I think it is super important because, like I said, with the screen time situation, like you might genuinely not be aware of how much time you are spending on your phone until you are tracking it, until you're intentional with it, right? So then you're realizing, all right, I get home from work, I'm spending 3 hours on my phone just scrolling, or then I'm watching Netflix and I'm watching Love Island, but I don't have time to meal prep. Do you not have time? Or are your priorities not in check? These are the questions that we have to ask ourselves. Seriously, people, like, if you want to make changes, if you want to become a better person, if you want to lose weight, if you want to be more intentional with your time and you want to see changes, something has to change. So instead of spending 3 hours scrolling on your phone and watching Netflix and watching Love Island, go meal prep. Or watch them while you're meal prepping. Again, it's about combining. I wanted to put my phone down so I could be like this. It's about combining the two, right? You have a habit of watching Love Island every night. Okay, have a habit of meal prepping while you're watching Love Island. You like watching a certain series, like for example, I'm obsessed with Bridgerton. I have watched every single season. I was going to say 5 times, but if I'm being totally honest, I think it's maybe few more than that. Yeah, I said that right. I've seriously watched probably season 1 6 times, season 2 maybe 5 times, but season 3 I've watched that about 7 times. I've actually just finished watching it again today because that is my sense of winding down. I can't explain why. I just would rather actually rewatch that than anything else. But when I'm meal prepping, sometimes I want to listen to a podcast. Sometimes I've got some work to do, so I'll be a bit more intentional with that. But sometimes I just want to watch Bridgerton, rewatch Bridgerton while I'm meal prepping. So I'm not going to not meal prep just so I can watch Bridgerton. I'm going to meal prep while I'm watching Bridgerton. Okay? You see my point? You can do these things, find the time. Yeah? Mix them. If you feel like you don't have time because it's being filled with other things, how can we merge them together? How can we do the thing and do the other thing? Going for a walk, but being on the phone. You might FaceTime your friend, go for a walk around the block. So that is number 4, being intentional about what you're doing to be better, to work towards your goals. So I'm just going to do a little recap because I know that was a lot to take in. So number 1, this seriously, guys, if you do this right and if you genuinely take in what I'm saying in this podcast, it's going to help you achieve your goals. It's going to make it a lot easier for you and it's going to help you stick to it. So I promise you, this little recap, make sure you're listening, get a paper and pen, make some notes on your phone, do this, okay? Number 1, be intentional about what you want to change. I thought I was going to mess that up again. Be intentional about what you want to change. What does it look like for you? What is your goal? What is your wedding weight loss goal? What is your wedding toning goal? What is your wedding fat loss goal? How do you want to feel in your wedding dress? What is your goal for your wedding day? Do you want to focus on being present? Do you want to feel your best in your wedding photos? Do you want to get your photos back and be like, I love how I look in those. I love how happy I was. I love how free I felt. I remember that feeling. How do you want, like literally, how do you want your day to be? How do you want to feel in your day? What does your dress look like? What do you look like in your dress? And what is the reason behind that? Okay, really try and dig deep in that. Number 2, how does the person who you want to become spend their time? This isn't about you. Separate yourself from that for a second. What does that person do? You know that person that you see on Instagram? You know that person that you see out on the street and you're like, oh my God, she looks insane. She looks put together. I wish I could be a bit more like her. And listen, we all have moments like that. I don't think they're bad if we're using them to become the best version of ourselves, right? We can pick up on things that we like about other people and how they present themselves, and we can put that into what we want for us, right? How we can build our confidence and our personality and how we feel, right? So what is that person that you are constantly drawn to seeing, and what does that person look like for you? What does that person do? What does she eat? What does she drink? How does she spend her time? How does she exercise? Who does she spend her time with? What does she limit? Maybe these are some things that we need to think about as well. What does she not do? Does she sit and binge Netflix while having loads of snacks around her? Does she intentionally spend her time? Does she scroll on Instagram, or does she go for a walk, right? Again, these are things that we need to think about. So number 2, how does she spend her time? Number 3, audit and track your habits. Your habits, what you do in a day, what you eat in a day, how you exercise, your steps, how you're spending your free time, who you're spending most of your time with, what you're doing with your time. Audit it. Don't judge it. Don't try to change it. Just audit it. And I promise you, it will open pathways in your brain that were never there before, right? We just need to be aware of these things to start. Awareness is the first step to change. That's always what I say to a woman who comes onto my program, or at least jumps on a call with me. I'm like, listen, you've done the hard part, and that's realizing that something needs to change, right? That awareness is the spark that you can then use to make the changes. And number 4 is be intentional. I thought I said that wrong again. I didn't, I said it right. Be intentional about what you can do to be better. Don't try and give yourself unrealistic expectations and unrealistic goals. Be intentional, right? Give yourself goals to aim for, but be intentional. Be intentionable. Be intentional about them. Why am I struggling with certain words today? That's so annoying. Swear I never struggle to say intentional. But today, apparently, camera comes out and I am. Be intentional about how you're spending your time and how you could be better. These things, I promise you, will all come together if you actually take the time to think about them, for you to become the best version of yourself for your wedding day, but also way after as well, for a lifetime. Okay, focus on what you can control and work your way up from there, right? It's not about being perfect from the start. You have to start somewhere, but you also have to be aware of your current habits and your current lifestyle and what it's going to take for you to do what you need to do in order to get to where you want to go. Okay, it's about progress, not perfection. But seriously, if you do want to feel your best in your wedding dress, start now. Like, start now. I'm not saying start now to start going to the gym and spending 5 hours a week in the gym and meal prepping this and that. Starting now means start thinking about it now, but also then take quick action. Okay. So like everything that I just spoke about in this podcast, it's about being intentional. It's about really understanding where you want to go and then start working towards it. Doesn't have to be this whole big wedding weight loss journey that you're on. It's just about changing some habits. And I promise you, you're going to see the biggest amount of difference if you start implementing these things this week. Okay. So ladies, if you need any extra help on your wedding weight loss journey and you want to actually develop healthy habits that are going to last a lifetime, drop me a DM on Instagram at the bridal coach with the word bride and your wedding date, and we can talk about putting together a program for you to talking about your habits and how we can actually implement the things that you need to be doing, the things that your higher self needs to be doing or would be doing now. So DM me the word bride with your wedding date and let's talk about that. But other than that, I hope you took some useful information out of this, all right? Drop it in the comments. What did you learn from this video? And as always, my DMs are open, okay? I hope you enjoyed this video and I look forward to speaking with you soon. Bye.